Alright, hello everybody. This is the Australian Esports League quarterfinal
Radiant's
round robin
ban.
match between Hans Reborn and Mate in 6. I am the Spectre, and joining me tonight is Project Swift yet again. Thank you very much for coming and casting with me, Swift.
Hello again, and it's a pleasure to be here again tonight.
10
So much
seconds
fun
to
was
go.
had last night. I mean, there was two great matches. The Hans Reborn going up against
Dyer's ban.
Young Money Club, and then Rest going up against
ZSWY.
ZSWY. That's what it was. Two fantastic matches. They were great. I fully suggest that you guys go back and watch the
seconds to
streams
go.
from last night if you didn't catch them. Really fantastic matches.
Yes, and we should have an awesome
Radiant's
match here as
ban.
well. Mate in 6, knowing what Hans play, banning out that Nature's Prophet instantly. I think Endless has played it almost every game this tourney so far,
Dyer's
so
ban.
they won't have him this time. And I think he has something like a 75 or 80% win rate as well, so definitely a good hero to be banning out. And Hans will ban out that Weaver, which is so damn annoying to play against, deciding not to pick it up for balls this game.
10
And also
seconds to
banning
go.
out the Alchemist, who's often played as a support
5
nowadays,
seconds.
just not wanting to go up against maybe the negative armor that Weaver and Alchemist have to offer.
About time. Radiant's pick.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Hans have in store for this, because those are two very different bans to the
Dyer's
first bans
pick.
they went with last game. And there they go, they pick up the Lich as that first hero. Lich is fantastic. He's so strong in this meta at the moment. That change to sacrifice, being able to sacrifice and get the experience for those creeps that you knock off, is really, really strong, especially in the mid lane or the off lane. Run him in a dual lane, sometimes even solo off lane. I've seen occasionally.
10 seconds to go.
It's fantastic. It's so strong.
Yeah, it really is. I mean,
5 seconds.
not to mention the changes to Frost Armor, where it works to its full effect on range heroes now as well.
Reserve time.
It seems like a kind of minor thing, but it is actually quite massive as you get into the mid game. Having 12 extra armor that has full attack speed slow, it's pretty damn crazy, and it kind of lends me to think that Hans are going to be running more of a dual lane setup, and you got to think if Mate in 6 try to punish this a bit,
Dyer's
and we're going to
pick.
see them pick up the Clockwork first, who's really been dominating the off lane in 6-7-9. He seems, because tri-lanes aren't all that common, it's really hard to force a Clockwork out of the lane. He can kind of sit in the trees, get his experience. He's going to be hitting level kind of 4-5 no matter what you do, unless you have kind of two range heroes harassing him out as part of a tri-lane, and I don't think Hans will be running one this game.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, Lich doesn't make a fantastic tri-lane hero.
5 seconds.
He only has that one slow available, and he does do really well with the extra experience,
Reserve
only
time.
splitting it between two heroes and really making the most of that, the extra sacrifice experience between only two heroes instead of three. There's just one quick correction there. Ice Armor only has half effect on ranged attackers. It
Radiant's
used to
pick.
have no effect, but it is
there we
still
go.
a pretty big buff to it.
Yeah, it is. From nothing to something is always good. And Maiden 6, they're going to pick up the Crystal Maiden. We've seen Crystal Maiden and Clockwork used together pretty frequently, I've got to say. I mean, the Frostbite is a great way to set up a hookshot or just complement the hookshot. There's absolutely no way you're going to get away from Battery Assault with a Crystal Maiden on the case,
10
slowing and
seconds to
stunning
go.
if she can get in range. So the two have been seen
5
quite often
seconds.
together, and of course Crystal Maiden's mana aura always useful for that Clockwork.
Reserve time.
That is definitely something that the Clockwork loves, is that mana aura. Usually in sort of like around level 6 and 7, when Clockwork hits a massive spike in power, he jumps in, uses all his abilities, hopefully picks up a kill or two, but then he's left wandering around with sort of 150 mana, and can't really do that much. He's just sort of go and bot creeps or go back to base, regen, teleport back in and gank somewhere else. Getting that extra mana regen, even if it's just the one level and one mana
Radiant's ban.
per second, it's a pretty big up to him and allows him to roam much, much more. So I like that pick, the
Dyer's ban.
great pick of the Crystal Maiden. And we've gone into a Clinks for Hans Reborn. So I believe you explained it to me last night that one of the players, Balls, I think it was, really enjoys his Clinks play.
Yeah, he really does. You'll often
Radiant's
see
ban.
Balls taking it just as a safe lane solo, Sometimes he'll have a support with him as well, but generally just favoring that kind of solo lineup. And Clinks can do decently up against the Clockwork. You definitely shouldn't be losing that lane, and the changes to Searing Arrows make it so much easier to last hit and even harass back Clockwork a little bit. So you're never really going to force him back from the lane unless there's a rotation, but you can definitely scare him away from the creep line a bit.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, Clinks as a solo safe lane is a really solid hero. That the changes, as you said, the changes to Searing Arrows, the extra 10 damage per level. Even though they did change it to physical damage, it's still pretty huge in the early game. And it is possible that they might be able to run a Clinks Lich duel offlane. That could be a bit of fun, getting the Clinks that little bit of bonus extra experience and pulling the creeps back in under the tower, using that massive last hitting power from Searing Arrows to last hit under the tower. And that could deny a fair bit of farm and experience to Made in 6's safe lane. So that could be an option for him, but we'll see how they run it.
Yeah, definitely. And Han's banning out the Nakes and the Bounty Hunter. Of course, Bounty Hunter, one of those great heroes to get your team rolling to a kind of mid-early game snowball. And of course, that track's so annoying when you're playing an invis hero such as Clinks. I'm not 100% sure of the lifestealer ban. I'm guessing it's just so he can't jump into the Clockwork and then hook in and cage, and, have an Axe trapped in with you, because Clinks actually does quite well against an Axe. Because his Searing Arrows is physical, not magical, it does quite a lot of damage, even through the rage, and basically the way you want to take down an Axe is with physical damage. That's why you kind of see Weavers with Desolators going up against Naxes quite often. And Clinks does also have the mobility just to kite an Axe around in a fight. But I assume they just don't want to have that Clockwork Nax combo available to Mate in 6.
Mate in 6's bans are really interesting. Actually, they banned out the Visage and the Nyx Assassin, which are those two super strong powerhouse tri-lane supports. And I don't know if I agree with it. Again, disclaimer, these players are much better than I am. But I feel with Hans's picks, the Lich and the Clinks, I just don't see that powerhouse tri-lane coming out from them, unless they wanted to maybe run the Lich on the off lane and the Clinks mid. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel it was a bit odd in my experience. But
I think the Nyx ban is fair enough. Risk loves getting his hands on that Nyx Assassin. It's kind of pretty much his hero. As you saw in the last game against YMC, just with a 4-star, he was landing stuns at crazy angles, and then when he got the Blink Dagger, it just made it so much harder for YMC to do anything, landing 2 to 3 hero impales in every fight. So it's definitely a ban against Risk, not potentially something that they want to go against in this. Just the same as the Nature's Prophet ban out, really. Of course, both of them are strong heroes, but not the absolute strongest in the current meta.
10 seconds to go.
They will pick up the Earthshaker, which again is one of Hans's kind of favored heroes because of that extra range on Fissure. 100 units doesn't seem like much, but it is massive. I think the one thing I always bring up is Earthshaker can initiate with a Fissure while still under smoke, and it won't break. Like, the range is that massive on his stun. And in the capable hands of either Lippy or Risk, you're going to be seeing a lot of nice Fissure blocks coming out.
Yeah, I really love the pick of the Earthshaker there. There's been a few dual lanes being Earthshaker Mirana, and with Mate in 6 picking up the Mirana, could have been a block pick on the Earthshaker, but also Earthshaker and Lich is a really old support combo going back to Dota 1, just with the large range of Liches. Frost Nova, and the slow sets up a perfect Fissure block from the Earthshaker, so I really like that pick. The follow-up pick of the Chen is a bit interesting, going that strong push. Could be a bit risky up against the Earthshaker's Echo Slam, adding a lot of stomp damage, but being able to use the creeps to take down those towers really early on in the game should be able to put Mate in 6 up in that in the gold department.
Yeah, I've got to say I'm not a giant fan of the Chen pick. Just because Clinks, if he runs out of his ultimate in a fight, he's got a Chen creep right there. And it's got boosted HP, so it's going to make him even stronger than he would be normally. Plus, if he picks up a Hand of Midas, bam bam, there's 2 creeps gone for Chen, or Earthshaker comes in and echo slams, as you said, and creates more bounces. So I'm not really sold on this Chen pick. I'm not too sure what Maiden 6 angling here for. Maybe I just guess they're going to go for really early aggression and ganks with the Mirana and Clockwork Crystal Maiden combo, and they want that Hand of God available. And as you said, before Clinks hit 6, those creeps are really potent, and we're going to see an OD pick as the final pick for Maiden 6.
That is really, really interesting. Yeah, I feel that for Maiden 6 to really pull off the potential of their lineup, their Chen player is going to have to be on the ball. It is a risky pickup. Chen is a powerful hero, but like up against the Clinks and the Earthshaker, it's a risky pick.
10 seconds to go.
Hopefully they can pull it off. I would like to see some really good Chen plays, especially with the Outworld Devourer, and guessing probably mid lane Outworld Devourer, being able to banish people. The 2 seconds, 3 seconds on the Astral Imprisonment gives Chen's creeps plenty of time to walk in and set up that stun. So that could be lethal for Hans Reborn's mid player.
Yeah, and I'm not too sure who will be going mid. I mean, it could be the Timbersaw. At the moment, it's definitely looking like it will be. But Timbersaw and Clinks are 2 of Ball's kind of favorite heroes. I think Timbersaw is one of the first heroes I saw Balls play, and every time he plays on that Timbersaw, he completely dominates. But with the Nature's Prophet banned out, it could be the offlane for Endless, or it could even be the mid laner for Shaitan. So Timbersaw just being one of those ultra kind of flexible picks. And the players in the team as well on Hans. A couple of people could pick him up, but I've got to say, I'm still leaning towards Balls on the Clinks here. And if that Timbersaw is going solo up against an OD, he's going to have a very, very hard time in the early game here.
That is not a lane that I would like to play, being on the side of the Timbersaw. That's going to be tough. Outworld Devourer has a much higher base hitting power, base attack damage than over the Timbersaw, and being able to take all the Timbersaw's mana, which he doesn't have a huge amount at the start, is going to be really hard for him. And we have that final pick of the Rubik, which go ahead. I'm at a loss for
I'm going to say Rubik is probably just going to be for a follow-up. Like, Earthshaker will go for a long-range Fisher stun, Rubik will lift, all the while Clinks is smacking on them with Searing Arrows. Shaitan is usually their mid player, so this might actually be a solo Lich. So we'll see kind of how that pans out. It's kind of interesting to see the heroes right now, but we'll get into the laning stage in a moment. Let's introduce the teams. On the side of Hans Reborn, we have Endless Winter on that Timbersaw. Earthshaker will be taken up by Firestarter, aka Risk. Clinks is being played by Balls. Lippy will be on your support, Rubik. And finally, Shaitan on the Lich.
And for Maiden 6, we've got Chicane taking up that Chen role, who we're hopefully going to see some really awesome plays from. Illusion is standing in this game for Maiden 6, and he'll be playing the Crystal Maiden. Roger Dodger is going to be on the Clockwork with Fumoff. Oh, we've got a bit of an
engagement. We're going to have Chicane lifted up here, and he's blocked off as well. The arrow comes through, but that's a first blood to Endless Winter. A nice pickup there by Hans. They catch him on the low ground, and as we were saying before, we could expect some great Fisher blocks, and right off the bat, just all the way across here, blocking off the retreat there.
And continuing on with those introductions, Fumoff is going to be playing the Outworld Devourer. I don't read that language, so
Fumofu.
I can't.
Yeah, it's just Fumofu.
Oh. Okay, thank you very much. And we've got Gosu Panda taking up the Mirana.
Yeah. So a nice kind of early advantage for Hans there. It does look like Clinks is going to be in this safe lane. Looks like Lippy will be helping him out here, or at least he may just be placing down a sentry and then going into that off or mid lane. Earthshaker has picked up a double damage rune here, so he might look to some early aggression on the mid lane. If he can get another nice Fisher block off, kind of in this direction, forcing the OD to go around here, and then you have Lippy kind of coming in from this direction, it could be a decent hit, but it looks like Lippy's just going to put down a lane ward, and they're going to work on this Clockwork at bottom. We do have pings coming out. The Observer ward has spotted out Risk, so OD's just going to be happy to sit back here, and his blockers allowed him to do that as well. The creep's in a really nice place for him. But as we said before, it looks like Shatan's just going to be going up against Famofu in this mid lane, and it's going to be a really difficult lane for him.
The Earthshaker blocks. That's going to make it much easier for him.
He's going to get some experience here, but even with the Astral, at the moment he's sitting at 49 damage for last hitting, and of course, Lich doesn't have the best last hit animation. As you can see, Famofu not happy about this at all. They're going to have to ward off those Ancients as soon as they can if they want to get anything from this lane. And I do believe that they do have some sentries. Yeah, they've got some sentries on Illusion, so he should be rotating there basically as soon as he can to stop that. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, Lippy just pulling through with these creeps, and it looks like Roger Dodge is going to maybe try and steal some last hits, or at least get some experience for this.
Yeah, definitely coming in to snipe that experience, try and get those couple of last hits that he might be able to pick off. And I think he's not in any real danger at the moment, and we've got a smoke going through the secret shop on the Radiant side. So we've got Chicane on the Chen and Illusion on the Crystal Maiden, looking to hopefully pick up this Earthshaker as he does this block, and maybe catch him when he pulls those dragons. They're
looking for it now. They have the Centaur here. He's going to come in, but the paws coming out. That Centaur has used Stomp, though. I've already heard it Stomp. You can see the skills lit up if you select him. The Frostbite also coming out for Crystal Maiden, so they might stack stuns here, and that may be enough for Risk to get out, because he does still have the Fissure, so unless Illusion has very quick fingers on that S button,
alright,
it needs to be coming. Yeah, he does cancel it off, so now the Frostbite coming through, and that is a dead Earthshaker. Didn't have time to react there. The Fissure, just way too long a cast time for him to get it out. And Roger Dodger also just cocking down that bottom lane. Lippy dropping a little bit, but we're going to have Famofu dropping again. Poor guy. He's got some internet issues.
Yes, this has been unfortunate, having these pauses and having those disconnects in this tournament match. I think that pause was quite beneficial for Maiden 6. As you said before, they were about to stack up those stuns, but being able to mash the S button on the Crystal Maiden, cancelling that Frostbite, did allow them to chain it much more effectively.
Puppy paw.
Oh, puppy paws. Also a note for this offlane, the Endless on the Timbersaw, getting that first blood gold is put him in a fairly huge advantage on this offlane position. This Piranha has taken a lot of damage, and Timbersaw is still at full health, has that poor man's shield, so he's blocking a lot of damage with his reactive armor and that poor man's shield. So Mirana's base attack of only 55 isn't going to be able to do much. A lot of that physical damage is going to be shrugged off.
Yeah, it's a very difficult position for him to be in. As you said, the poor man's shield already picked up. It just blocks so much, and of course with the reactive armor as well, it's not even really a tickle for Endless. He hasn't used any of his regen, still has 4 tangos and a salve, so I don't think Gosu's kind of even focusing on it. Endless is being really good at kind of attacking. If you just right-click on the hero, the wave automatically aggroes you, and he's just using that to keep those reactive armor stacks up, and he's pretty much going to be staying at plus 9 or 10 HP a second to this lane.
This Clockwork's taking a lot of harass on the bottom lane. The Clink's getting out those 2 levels in String Arrows now, has gone to town on that Clockwork. Clockwork's had to pop all his regen, just using his last salve now to put himself back up to full. And there, you can just see that, like, with one hit of those Searing Arrows, although Clinks has taken a few hits from the tower here, those few hits weren't quite worth it. But, yeah, just the amount of damage that he's able to put out with those.
Well, we're going to have a rotation in mid. Famofu might be in trouble, needs a couple more hits, but Shatan just can't get there in time, and he doesn't have enough mana to throw out the blast again, so Famofu will get away. Meanwhile, Endless trying to go on Illusion here, just misses out on that Whirling Death, so he's not going to be able to grab the kill. Now needs to be run. The arrow hits the double Starfall as well as the Test of Faith, but he's just so tanky. Look at the regen going. He's going to live here. The Timbersaw just showing you what a great asset he is in the offlane, just using that level 1 Timber Chain. Meanwhile, Roger Dodger going down in the bottom lane. He caught Clinks inside the cogs, which is what I'm sure he didn't want to do, and with Lippy rotating in, it was a nice kill to pick up in this safe lane for them.
Yeah, that's going to put Klinks a little bit ahead. He's got 19 last hits and 4 denies over the top of the Miranas, 15 last hits and 1 deny. So he is doing better in the safe lane, and with that kill, it will put him ahead even further.
I've got to say, the real surprise for me here is this mid lane. Of course, with those Fisher pulls, it did help out Shaitan a lot in this early game, but right now, he's sitting at 14 and 5 for OD's 8 and 6. So definitely using that Earthshaker in the mid lane as well as the sacrifice has really paid off for Hans in what should have been a really one-sided matchup.
Yeah, they've really dragged the Outworld Devourer down. His experience, he's almost a complete level. Actually, he's more than a complete level behind the Lich now. Lich is only a few experience from level 6, like 25 experience from level 6, whereas Outworld Devourer hasn't even hit level 5 yet. So that is putting him at a huge disadvantage. This Earthshaker pull is working fantastically up against the Outworld, especially with the Lich being that intelligence hero, and Outworld should, in theory, demolish him by taking all of his intelligence.
Yeah, and at the moment, I mean, Risk is just sitting here in this mid lane. He's staying in experience range, just those 1,300 units because of that change. And he's just kind of waiting here, ready to throw out a Fisher if he gets initiated on, and Shaitan, just leaving Shaitan to basically last hit freely in the mid lane. I would like to see Risk maybe stack a little bit, but if he does, he's going to miss out on that experience. So maybe just wanting to get up some levels. In fact, he's going to come through with a stun now, just on the wrong side, followed up by a blast here. They're going in for the kill, but Risk is not going to have the right clicks to follow it up, and Famofu just popping the regen rune is easily just going to be able to fly away. And we are going to see Endless going for Gosu.
Yeah.
That was weird. The arrow kept on flying on my screen, but a little stun came out. Gosu Panda leaps away. The Chakram comes out, but it is going to miss, and they are just going to be able to run. Meanwhile, it looks like Illusion is going to rotate into the mid along with Chen. Chen doesn't have any creeps with him at the moment, but he does have a Wild Wing waiting on the side, so he might be ready to kind of put the mid lane in his mid laner's favor with that Tornado. Just so annoying. But at the moment, he might be stacking up here. I mean, what you usually do with a Wild Wing in the early game is stack up the hard camp a few times and then farm it with that Whirlwind. So he can look to get a big experience and gold lead if he decides to do that.
Yeah, being able to stack up those camps with Wild Wing, it's also done with Doom as well. One of the best ways to jungle with Doom, you pick up that Wild Wing, use that Tornado, stack the hard camp a few times, and do what you see here. He's just knocking it down easily, just stands next to it and gets that gold and that experience rather easily. It's also a fantastic creep for level 1.
We're going to see a smoke up in mid, actually. Famofu might be in a bit of trouble. They definitely know which one the real one is because of the health bars. They are going to rotate in now. The Fisher comes out, caught on the wrong side. He's going to be thrown to the other side. Now Shaitan maybe looking for a body block, but gets imprisoned. Famofu using the bottle charges. He's going to be okay for now. Throws out the Sanity's Eclipse as well, barely scratching them. The right clicks are coming through, but nothing's happening. Rubik does go down on the back end, step too close to the tower, and the rotations kill them off, but they do pick up Famofu. And they'll be happy with that trade. Trading the enemy mid for one of your supports, it will be more than happy. Or Hans will be more than happy with that.
It's a pretty big win for Hans. They've managed to shut down this Outworld so well with this dual mid. And yeah, being able to get that kill on him, even if it was for the traded with the Rubik, that is quite big. This will put a serious dent in the Outworld and really delay that mid-game powerhouse that Outworld has the potential to become.
Yeah, the OD.
Smoke from Clockwork on bottom as well.
Well, he might be looking for a kill here. He's got the level 6. The hookshot, of course, is available. Might be thinking of going in on Risk here. Earthshaker, probably one of the best heroes you can hook, because he can't do anything if you throw out the battery assault on him. The cast animation is way too long, and Roger Dodger should be able to spot him out pretty soon. He doesn't have vision just yet. Just waiting in those trees.
What's happening to Dyer's bottom tower?
He is going to have
he's got the hook on Shaitan. He's thrown out the battery assault. Risk doesn't have enough mana to do anything. The ultimate comes out. It bounces back to Roger Dodger, and the Fade Bolt picks up the kill. OD in a lot of trouble as well. Gets lifted up, but the Hand of God comes out. Famofu still low though, and Risk Gonna have even less mana now
Guess
after
what's
that
happening
imprisonment,
to
so he's
Dire's
just gonna
bottom
have to
tower.
waddle back, but a nice pickup kill there, the counter gank coming out there and a lucky bounce back. Meanwhile on top, Endless Winter's
The
diving
Dire
hard
best
onto
do
Gosu
something
Panda,
about
but
that
I
bottom
don't think he
tower.
has quite enough mana to really make use of it. A nice net coming out from Chen, but he's just gonna be able to timber chain away. The arrow goes astray, and Endless is really doing well in this offlane, sitting at 47 for 13 to Mirana's 31 and 3. So if we look at the experience graph, it's currently 5,000 in favor of Hans Reborn. The gold a little bit less at around 3.2k. So Hans just doing really well in this early game.
They are, especially considering that the Maiden 6 has that Chen and has that jungle farm open to them. So with Endless on the Timbersaw being able to like taking charge of this offlane and really putting this fear in the Mirana, taking over the last hits in the offlane, and with Clinks on the safe lane having a massive 65
Oh, a hook comes out on Endless. They're going for the kill, and Arrow's going to fly through. Endless will fall here. He tried his best to get out of there, even a stun coming from Risk, but it wasn't enough to save him. A nice long-range arrow follow-up inside those cogs.
Hopefully that should take him down a peg and give this Mirana a little bit more room to catch up on those last hits. Although Klinks has almost double the last hit of the Mirana.
Gave up a bottom tower.
And he'll also have his Orchid really soon. He's got 650 gold in the bank, already has both Oblivion stuff, so for a nice early Orchid, and once he gets this, I'm not liking MI6's chance. They've got no real way to stop him. If he finds anyone solo, he's going to grab a kill here. Meanwhile, Endless Winter just bursting down the clockwork in top. He's going on Panda and Chicane now, just hitting through. He gets arrowed as well as netted. A bit of stun stacking there. He's hoping to come through now. Fisher comes off cooldown in 1 second. The Chakram thrown out, and that burst damage is just too much. We have a double kill now, lifted up in the air is Gosu Panda by Lippy. A nice leap is going to dodge that Timber Chain, but it's just not enough. It's a triple kill. Even the Echo Slam thrown out, but all in vain. Endless picking up that triple. And that's a nice way to hit back after getting ganked.
Yeah, that is definitely the best way that you can come back into your lane and let your enemies know, no, this is my lane. I'm taking control of it again. So
Step back.
that's going to put a bit of a dent in MI6. They won't be celebrating that. And with this, Clinks having that Orc, it's almost up. It's flying out on the courier now. Whether he chooses to stay in the safe lane or go and try and find those pickoffs will be seen. But I think if he goes and looks for those pickoffs on the Chen and the Crystal Maiden, squishy targets like that, even with this Outworld Devourer, they're going to get shredded by that Orchids. That is so much damage, and they won't be able to deal with it.
Yeah, I honestly think he can pick off anyone on the side of MI6 right now. Clockwork, probably the tankiest hero out of all of them, and he's only level 7 with only Strength Treads and a Stout Shield to his name, so at only 1k HP, unless he manages to get a nice hook back to a creep wave, I think he goes down here as well. I mean, that level 4 Searing Arrows with a Strafe and the damage coming out from Orchid is just so much, and Roger Dodger knows it. He's just sitting at his tower right now, afraid to even move to the creep wave because he knows that Balls is missing. He maybe thinks of going forward there, but he's just wisely staying back here. Meanwhile, on the top lane, another massive amount of burst. Gosu Panda gets the leap off Illusion now running for his life, but he's running into a jungle. A nice hook shot in from Roger Dodger. He's got the battery assault, has the cogs available now, but that mechanism keeping Endless nice and healthy. Another Satyr Blast coming through, but it's not enough to deter them. Endless Winter now getting hit by an arrow. The ultimate comes out, but it barely even hurts Endless. Now for Mofu in a bad spot. He doesn't have the orb, and he just goes down to that burst. Roger Dodger now caught in the Chakram. He's going to get hit by the Clinks here. The rocket stolen by Lippy returned. One more hit, and he'll go down. Shaitan diving in for it. Doesn't have mana for the nuke. Roger's trying to juke here. He's gone into the bushes, but they know where he is, and this should be a kill for Balls. No. Risk takes it with the Fisher, and that's a 3-0 trade here for Hans.
This is looking scary for Maiden 6. Hans Reborn have taken control of this match. The 4 just ticked over. The 4 highest players on net worth are all on Hans Reborn, and that includes the Earthshaker and the Lich. 2 of the supports on their team now have more net worth than Maiden 6's safe lane farmer. That spells disaster. And here goes the
Them
tower.
dire
Look at that
buildings are
tower
tough as
damage.
nails
Nice
for
little
now.
fortify, but I don't think
Radiant's
they'll be able
mid-tower's
to
coming apart.
sort of stop that going down.
Dire's top towers
I
The
think
amount
they
of
were just
damage
trying
that this Clink's
to
putting
buy
out.
time, basically, just to try and go in the mid lane. But they only do about half damage, and that Chakram is just so efficient at taking down these waves. He does get imprisoned up, but basically that's just letting them retreat safely. They need to go back away from a solo Timbersaw when there were 4 of them in mid, and that kind of sets the tone for the game and how MI6 are feeling right now. The score, 11-3 in Hans Reborn's favor. If we take a look at that experience graph, they're sitting around
Trouble
12,000
brewing at
ahead.
Radiant's
If we
bottom
take a look, just over 10k gold as well. And Endless might be caught out here. We've got an Invis rune on
Radiant's
Illusion.
bottom
He
tower
might go
in
for a
pretty sight
Frostbite
right
and an
now.
ult here. Lippy is going to step in this mid lane as well. Just that level 1 rocket stolen, so not too much he can do with that right now.
Radiant's bottom tower's seen better days.
And Maiden 6 are going to have to be playing really creatively at the moment because their team sort of has that.
Oh,
on
in
top
top,
and
the
there.
Blinken and the ultimate for Mofu going down. The Orchid also thrown out by Balls. Shaitan picking up the kill, and that's the problem with picking up an OD. He's so
Dire might
susceptible
wanna
to
mine
ganks.
the
We
top
see an
tower.
arrow coming through, but it will miss. They are under Moonlight Shadow. They're looking for a counter kill here. Illusion coming forward. He's thrown out the Frostbite on Shaitan,
Dire's
but in
mid-tower's
comes the
having
Fisher,
technical
and
difficulties.
Illusion is in a lot of trouble. 2 more last hits and it will go down. The Mute coming down on Shaitan, but it's not enough. Roger Dodger gets singled out by Balls. It looks like Balls is going for a double kill. The damage is just way too much, and now Endless is trying to get Illusion away, but it's not going to help him here. Balls on a triple kill now, and he's just farming the Chen creeps. Luckily, the Mirana is able to TP back. In fact, just TPing back to that tower because she knows that she's going to need to try and defend it, but it's not looking good. Only the OD and Mirana here, and the OD
Dire's top
desperately needs some
tower.
farm up.
You
You
know
can't
the
be
drill.
defending a tower at a time like this.
Despite the horrendous outcome for Maiden 6, that fight
Dire's
actually
top tower's getting
went
beat. Dire's
kind
lost
of.
the top tower.
It didn't go well for them, but they executed it well. Like the Clockwork got a perfect hook shot and isolated that Clinks, got the battery assault, but Clinks had none of it. He just went, okay, cool, searing arrows, no, and just took him down in a few hits. And then from inside that little cage, he was just free to attack
And
everyone
we're
on Maiden
back.
6's team. So they just got shredded. The amount of damage that Clinks is doing, and with the blink
Dire's
on the
mid-tower
Earthshaker,
won't last much
it's
longer.
just, there you go. It's
You
like
can see it
3
going.
hits.
You can see it. Balls is just way too strong at the moment. And this is only with an Orchid, just the strength of his ultimate. Endless going in on Illusion here. And the nukes coming out from Shaitan and Endless are just too much. Hans are starting to run rampant over this enemy team. Lippy now stealing the level 4 arrow, so he can now combo up with his own lift with another stun.
Dire's top tower's getting beat down.
Maiden 6, I think, can't take Balls and can't take the Timbersaw Endless
Dire's
by themselves.
mid-tower
Like,
could use a little help.
their entire team can't take those 2 heroes, I think.
Dire's
So they're going to have to
mid-tower's
try and
nothing
find the
now.
pickups on the Earthshaker, the Ruby, and the Lich, and really try and stay away from the Timbersaw and the Clinks. But
Dire's mid-tower's
Huns
having
Reborn know this,
technical
and they're just sticking as
difficulties.
5, and
They're
they're
gonna
just
have an arrow come
systematically
through.
taking out
It
these
gets
guys.
dodged by Panda, but the blink on
6 in a
Firestarter,
row.
and that Orchid just amps the
Dire's
damage up
mid-tower
so
could
much.
use a little help.
Panda stands no chance there.
Radiant's bottom tower's seen better days.
This
This-
blink from Risk is just paying itself off time and
Dire's
time again. He's
mid-tower
now
won't
sitting at
last much
1,
longer.
1, and 9.
Their Earthshaker, if you look at his items, he's
Dire's
picking up a Hand of
mid-tower's
Midas
having
now as well. So
technical
going
Dire
20,
weren't
there you go,
partial to
just
that
picked it up.
mid-tower.
20-minute Hand of
Radiant's
Midas,
bottom
or
tower
18-minute
in
Hand of
pretty
Midas.
sight right now.
That's brutal. This sort of means that like Maiden 6 have to make things happen because their supports on the Hans Reborn are just starting to get so much farm as well. So they're just going to steadily and happily outfarm Maiden 6 now that they're just shut in their base.
Look at the confidence of Endless here. He's just sitting here waiting for the creep wave in plain sight of the enemy tower because they know that they can't do anything to stop him. He's sitting on a 12 charge Bloodstone as well as the Int Staff, so he might be going for kind of the Hans' favorite Force Staff Timbersaw build, or he could be going for a little bit more burst and going for the dagger, but there we have it. The Force Staff is completed on Endless. The arrow comes through. It is going to hit on Lippy. It will be a max duration stun, but they just don't have the follow-up for it. And I think what MI6 trying to do here is maybe Moonlight Shadow up and go for a bit of a wraparound, because it seems to be their only choice. Oh, Arrow just narrowly missing on Famofu. He's desperately trying to get back in the base, imprisons himself, drops down to half life with just a bit of kind of little harass coming out from Hans. And you can see now in the net worth charts, the entirety of Hans Reborn are ahead of the entirety of MI6.
The XP and gold graph now, it has just shot up exponentially as well. The gold graph especially, it's just shot straight up. So up around 20 grand right now. So that is a huge advantage. Hans Reborn just have free reign and they're just happily going for Roshan. They haven't even watered around the pit. They don't fear any sort of chance of counter initiation from MI6 trying to take it out from under their noses.
Radiant's
they're just
top towers taking hits.
Roaming. They know it's their map and they're using it.
And they haven't even lost a tower at this stage either. Even if they died here, they would just buy back and instantly TP out to a tier 1 tower and rejoin the fight within 5 or so seconds. And now Klink's also finishing up a Daedalus. He's just going pure damage here. Who needs survivability? He's just going, he's grabbing it from his ult and then just going to town on all of these heroes. And you can see from the positioning of MI6, they can't even leave their base right now. And there we have it.
Oh, there we go.
Roger Dodger, they're not even waiting for a big fight. They know that they can't even get out of here. The good game gets called. Hans Reborn, a 21-minute victory, 18-4 ahead. The experience, 23,000 in their favor. The gold sitting at 25k. And Hans Reborn just showing why they are seen as the best team in Australia.
They definitely are. They played that well. They really took those advantages. They knew the lanes were... They knew what the lanes were going to be. They countered it expertly with the Lich and the Earthshaker mid, the Tempestor on the offlane with that first blood gold. Made in 6 didn't have any response. They couldn't do anything against it.
Yeah, just a great game from Hans there.